Hi. So one of my subscribers requested a session on RestAssured. So let's wait for him to join as well, the meeting, and then we can start. Let me inform him that I am on Zoom. Hello? Hello?
Hi, Bhavani. Good
Hi.
evening.
Your name is Chaitanya, is it?
Yeah, Chaitanya.
Okay. Do you speak Telugu?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Just to let you know, I'm recording this session so that there is another girl called Sheetal who requested the same rest assured session, but she did not see the message yet. So, is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, how can I help? What are you looking from me? Like, what kind of session you want?
So I'm looking from the framework level, like what and all we should consider, what folders we should create uh,
Okay.
for the methods we have. So in the
Okay.
real time, how it works. Yeah.
Okay, coming to the folder structure, I mean, because we develop automation test framework and it is related to testing, so all the code will be available in test Java, SRC test Java. And in that, coming to the folder structure, you just have to create the package name. So the package name would look like this: com.company name.project name. And then, so first step you take is, I mean, if you are using REST Assured Cucumber framework, first step you do is create a feature file, right? So where you'll explain what your feature is about in given when then, using given when then, and then you'll write up your scenario. And then let's take some new scenario instead of the existing scenario. And let's say I have, like, given I have API headers something. So then you'll get a bulb symbol here. Did you see bulb symbol? Or
Yeah.
alternatively, you can press Alt Enter as well. But I'm using this. Wait, yeah. So on the when you click on the bulb symbol, you'll have an option to create a step definition. So if you click on that, it will ask you whether you want to use the existing step file or create a new file. So if you say create a new file, you just have to give the name. So I'll just call it as example step. And then I want it to create in normal Java. So it will do that for you. So once you have your what is this step defined, you need to define the code inside. So so for example, if you take the existing feature, so here the API is about oh sorry, just a minute. Yeah, API is about supplying two headers, which is called as rapid API host and rapid API key, and then calling a REST URL with get as HTTP method. So for that you need a REST assured util, right? REST assured util where you can make a get call using REST assured framework. So for that, you can create a package called utilities inside your common package. So under the utilities, you will create all the utilities related to your framework. And when it comes to step classes, everything will be under project name dot steps. So it's based on your framework and what you need for your framework. Um, the utilities will go into utilities and actual steps will go into steps folder. And if there are any specific support classes like test runners and all, you can create a separate folder called test runners in your project name. And also, if you have any database related stuff, you will create another folder called database, and then inside database you will have your database related steps and database related utilities, etc. So that's how the folder structure goes. And also, when it comes to your feature files, normally they would live in src test resources. So so because in the resources section you have feature files and the property files, everything. So you can, the best practice is to create another directory called features and move your feature, sorry, yeah, your feature files into your new features, sorry, features directory, src test resources features directory. And also, when it comes to the test runner, you said your features are available in src test resources, but your features are actually now available under resources features, right? So you need to mention the correct path. Any questions so far?
Yeah. So the authorization, whatever the key and value we are passing from the feature file.
Yeah.
So generally we have many scripts. So how to do a common method for creating a authorization request and get the token, and the token somewhere we need to place in some common method, and we need to pass for all the tests we have. So how we do in the framework level, those kind of stuff. And there are cases like the token will expire in 5 minutes. So how we are going to uh, use
Okay.
the same token for the test and all. Yeah.
So if the token expires in 5 minutes, there is so you can write a utility which generates the token for each of your tests. So you can have a background step. So you can have a background step, and if this step is needed for all of your feature files, sorry, all of your scenarios, then this step would actually go into background. So, and then if you have multiple scenarios like this, so if you have multiple scenarios and they need the same headers to be passed, or yeah, if the same headers need to be passed, they can go into the background step. And also, coming to
Yeah.
the utilities, for if the token expires, you can so in this background step, let's say you have to obtain a token, you have to generate a token. You can generate the token using the background step as well. And also, you will write a utility which will generate the token each and every time you call the background step.
Okay. So that token, how we pass through these features, through these feature files, like should we uh, give the hard coded value
So
in the script, or should
uh,
we store it?
so token is your header, is it?
Yeah.
So token is your header, but the value inside should, it will change, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you can say, um, so can you control the validity of the token, whether you can obtain the token for few hours or until the test run remains
No,
active?
no. So that was maintained by third party. So if you need to change, we need to change for entire application. So the standard time is 5 minutes. So
Okay,
we should
every five
obtain.
minutes it expires, is it? Is it?
Yes, yes.
And how do you get that token from the third party?
So we have one URL where we do get method,
Okay.
and using the get method, once we invoke the API, then it gives as written as the token.
Okay.
So that token
So then
now
you,
using
okay.
yeah.
So then you can't supply the token from the feature file itself, because that's variable, right? So let's say you, I don't want to edit this feature file. So let me revert these changes and let me create another feature file called what do you want this feature to be? Get token. Let's say get token. Okay, so inside get token, let's say given I get token, yeah, and let me create this method, create a step for this, and I'll create a new file called get token steps. Oh no, I created it in Java 8. Okay, let me create in normal Java. I'll delete the existing get token steps and refactor rename to steps. Okay. So you have this method where you will make a get call. So for example, okay. So inside the get token steps, I will call the send. I mean, I'll make a get request for that URL, for that specific URL. Yeah,
Okay.
and I get back some response. So when you get back response, what are the fields that are available in your response?
Only the response have only the token, nothing
Okay.
more.
Okay, nothing more than that. I see. Okay, let me create a
We can
project.
extract an entire response and pass that response as a token.
Pass that with no, it's key value pair, isn't it?
There is no key, only value. Only the token comes as a response.
Oh, I see. Okay, so then you don't need Pojo. So in the get token steps, you got some response, and so response dot get body dot as string. So this will be your token, right?
Yeah.
So once you let me copy those host and path. You need to replace your host and path with your URLs. Okay, so because I don't have the full info, whatever I have, I'm just copy pasting it. Host and path would differ for your third party token, and it doesn't need any headers, right? Does it need any headers?
No, not required.
Okay, I'll just pass an empty map. Sorry, just a minute. Sorry. Yeah, yeah, okay. Sure. Okay, bye. Sorry. Yeah, so you got some response and you saved that body as string inside the token. Now you can have something called token context, because it's not ideal to use static variables and pass them on everywhere. So I'm just going to save it into the test context, and I'm going to annotate that class with data. So you know about data annotation, right? Lombok.
Yes, yes. Yeah, Lambda. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to declare a variable called token here. Okay.
Yeah.
And also I'm going to annotate this with scenario scope, because I want this token value to be lived until the scenario is done. So I'm just annotating that with the scenario scope. And so I'm going to inject private token context. Oh, and token context. So I'm going to set the token here, token context dot set token, and I'm going to pass token. Yeah. So you have set the token inside your get token step. So now you will be calling another API and passing that token as your header, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you are calling some, yeah, let me copy and paste as well. So, so what will be the next step, and what is the appropriate thing to call here? I don't want to give it get country, so what would be the appropriate thing to call? So how would you write your feature file for your feature? So after you get the
Yeah,
token, yeah,
yeah. Once we get the token, we call normal API, which is when I invoke API.
okay,
When I invoke API with the token,
okay. So
then
let
I
me
should
create.
receive,
Then I should.
the response code as 200.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
okay. So let's code for this. Create. I'm using the. Anyway, it's not appropriate to use get token steps, so I'll just use, and I'll just call it as API steps. And I'm going to. Okay. So now you are invoking the your API with the token. So first thing you would do is string token equal to. Uh, so you need to inject your token context here as well, because you want to use the token value, right? So you need to inject that private token context, and token context dot get token. So you'll get the token value there. So now you can declare a hash map to create your header, because you for your API not only the token, there will be other headers as well, right? Declare it as map. Okay, so I'm going to add headers dot put token, and token. So that will be one of your header, and then if you have any other headers, you can do the same thing. You can add the other headers as well into the same map. And so let's say I'm using the same call again, because I don't have any other API to give you an example for. So let me copy the host and path as well. Okay, so instead of this, you will just say headers. So send this send get request will take host path and headers. So you can pass your headers in there. So I'm sure this won't be a get request, is it? Or is it a get request? Like,
yeah, it is getting. Yes,
okay.
yes. It
Yeah,
can
if
be
it is
any post. Yeah.
okay, even if it is a post, it's easy. Instead of get here, so there is get there, right? Here, instead of get,
Yeah.
you would call post, and also you'll just duplicate the same method and call it as post.
Okay.
And if you require a request body, you need to pass in the request body as well into the parameters. And so,
Further, we should create a separate method or the
yeah,
same method we can.
no. We should create a separate method if it is a post request. So let's create it while we are here. So let's say I have a method called send post request, and this would require headers as well as body. Let's say. Then instead of get, you'll say post, and body. Oh no, sorry. Shit. It should. Okay. So body, you're supplying it as body, and dot post. So this body you are supplying it as a parameter. So you just need to use this send post request, and everything else remains the same because you all you want is response from that. Where are we? Okay. So for now, I'm just supplying an empty body. I'm not sure what your API requires. So if it requires a JSON body, you can just supply the JSON body. There is a JSON object google.json. Yeah, you can use this JSON object, Google JSON object, or any other things. Even Vertex has a library for formulating the JSON. And after you formulate the JSON object, you can just convert it into string and then pass it on to your method. Do you want me to show that as well?
No, no, not required.
Okay, fine. So once you get the response again, so in this particular context, you just want to save the response and then verify your response has status code 200, right? So
Yeah.
I'll just create API test context. Or no, we can have get countries test context itself. Okay, what I did here is, let me revert and explain you what I'm doing. So here you got from any API you'll get some response, right? But each API might have different POJO associated with it. So for example, get countries has a requirement that it should return list of countries, and your API might give some other fields which would. So if you look at your country class, it has name and alpha 3 code, etc. So when it comes to your POJO, you might have different fields in your response, right? So in the same way, we can create another POJO called API POJO. I'm just naming it as a API POJO, where so your name of the fields will be different. Key 1, key 2, key 3, something like that. So you just need to replace these values with the keys associated with your response from your API. Yeah, did you get it?
Yeah, yeah, got it. And
Okay.
the JSON ignore one annotation is there. No? So what is that?
Okay. So JSON
Can
ignore
I
is,
ignore
for
some?
example, so let's go to API Pojo. So why I have defined this is, so let's say in my response object, I have key 1, key 2, key 3, key 4, key 5, key 6, right? So, but in my Pojo, I have declared I want to use only key 1, key 2, key 3. So I don't want my Pojo to complain about key 4, key 5, key 6 not existing in my Pojo. So that's the reason I have defined it as, if there are any unknown properties which are not declared in my Pojo, you have to ignore. That's what this says. Ignore unknown equal to true.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So where are we? Yeah, we need to edit something. So I'm going to rename, because now we have two different APIs. I'm going to rename this to shared scenario test context instead of get countries context. I'm going to declare it as object, and let's say just response Pojo. And I'm going to convert the return type also into object, and also I want to pass what object I want. Class name. Oh, okay. So because I'm using it here, so it will complain about it. So in the get countries context, I want country. I want it to return country list of countries dot class. So what is it complaining about? Okay, so I want to cast it inside and then convert it into list of countries. So this is anyway related to previous API for get countries. So now let's go into API steps. Here I need to inject shared scenario test context as well because I want to save the response. And so shared scenario context dot set HTTP response to the response that I got back from your API, and get token steps as well. No, I don't need that. Okay, so get token steps, we got the token, and then in the API steps we have used that token to get the response, and we have saved it in shared scenario context. Now what is, oh sorry, I need to change the name of the variable to response Pojo here. Okay, so all the compilation errors are gone. I need to create another step now. I should receive response as 200. I should create this step now. Let me use this. And instead of calling it as example step, I will rename it to response verification steps. Always your step file need to tell what it is doing exactly. So here for this particular step class, we just want to verify the response that we got back from the application. So every time when you are verifying the response, because your response object is stored inside your shared scenario test context, you need to inject that class. I mean, this is applicable only for the framework that I am using. So if you are using some other framework, then you have to make sure you inject appropriate classes so that you can get the response and then assert against the status code. Okay, so we have the status code, actual status code. No, this won't be string. This will be integer. Int actual status code equal to, and let's rename this as expected status code. Okay, so I got the status code from the response and I need to assert. Let me import static JUnit assert equals. So you always need to have your assertions throwing some messages. If the required criteria doesn't match, it needs to throw some meaningful message so that for your devs or for you, it will be easy to debug. So I just name it as expected status code doesn't match with actual status code. So we can also do this, and we can print expected status code inside the message doesn't match with actual status code. So inside your assert equals first, okay, so you can just say expected status code comma actual status code. See, so this is your assertion. So for example, let's say for example, you want to assert the response instead of response, I mean key by value pairs will be there, right? So then I verify the response, and I'll just name it as okay. So instead of just verifying the response code, if you want to verify the whole response that you got back from your application, then you need to use that get response pojo defined inside the shared scenario context where oh, this is still named as response pojo. Sorry, I need to rename it as get response pojo instead of okay. So inside this get response pojo, we have API pojo assigned for our API response that dot class. And then this would be API pojo, and I need to cast. So like this, you'll get the whole response in terms of your API, and then you can access the fields from there. Get key 1, key 2, key 3, whatever you want from your pojo, and then assert against your expected values. That's what you can do. Any questions so far?
Sure. And so what is the difference between this request spec builder, request specification, and this BDD style of writing rest assured classes? Like which one is better
I
and which one where to use?
did not get. Oh, okay. So you mean the rest assured request specification?
Yeah.
So are you using Open API clients for testing your APIs or in automated fashion, or how are you doing that? So if you are using the Open API clients, then it would expect rest assured specification inside the methods that Open API provides. So that's when you would use request specification. And also, it does not necessarily be Open API. You can use request specifications anywhere, where you would form the whole request, like you'll assign the host path and everything within the request specification, and then pass it to the rest assured class, rest assured util. So let's see, request specification. See, so everything request specification is the same thing that you are doing here. Given dot base URI base path filters, whatever you are doing, it will always return the request specification for you. You can see the return type there. So that's always the request specification. So I don't really see the difference between the I mean normal usage like given base URI base path and all, and then the request specification. Hello.
Yeah, if at all we need to implement logger in our project. So
Okay.
how to implement the logger
Okay.
render
So
framework?
there is already logging util, and there is a tutorial called sorry, where is that? RestAssured logging level explained. There is a tutorial here in README. I have mentioned that, but I can explain you in this session as well. So, but the classes are already written for logging util. You can see there is a logging util here. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah,
Okay, sure. So, for example, when you want to log your whatever is coming out of your application or what you are sending, let's say I am sending some request headers and some request body to my API. So, when you say log level equal to high, then it would log everything, each and everything that you send to the API. Request headers, host, URI, and the request body, it logs everything. If you say I mean log level is low, it will just log the errors if there are any errors with the application. Like if you try to send a request but application has come back with 500, then it would log. Otherwise, it will log everything. So coming to the implementation of logging filters, so I have created a list of logging filters here. Just so this filter is associated with rest assured filter, where you can select either error logging filter or request and response logging filter. So in this rest assured logging filters, if my log level, I mean, if I don't supply any log level, or if my log level is low, I just want the errors to be logged. So I'm just adding error logging filter to the list of filters that I have. I mean, I just created a new array list there. Yeah, and otherwise, my rest assured filter should have request logging as well as response logging, so that it logs each and everything that comes out of application or that goes into the application. So if I find usages for that method, I'm using it in rest assured send get request as well as send post request inside the filters. So you can call dot filters, and then that filters will accept list of filter, right? So get logging filters is filters is the method inside your logging util, which returns the rest assured filters, which is in turn list of filters. So that's how I'm using it, and inside rest assured util, and I can run it to show you. So I can run the command maven clean verify -p ci test. So ci test is a profile in my form.xml, so that's the reason I'm using ci-test. And if I supply -t, you should always look at the environment variable that I'm using. So I'm using log underscore level. Sai chappudu cheyaku please. -t log level equal to high. So if you say high, it will log you can see here request you, it's log. Oh god, this is a long response. So okay, I have to kill value. Okay, here I can you can see so in the get token, I'm just calling that URL because I don't have specific URL. So you can see the request URI and the headers I am sending everything when you say hi. So if you say low or don't, if you don't supply any log level, it won't log all of that.
okay.
Yeah.
So Yeah. So if I want to add some custom messages, like for logger, um, the statements, whatever it is printing. So those things how to handle with this logger class.
With this logger, you won't be able to print custom messages with this logger. So you can use SL4J. So for example, if I annotate this class with SL4J, so SL4J will have log. Oh no. Okay, I think some configuration is missing. I think it's Groovy. Or anyway, let's see if we have logger available. This logger takes string. I'm not sure. I think we can use SL4J logging, but you can annotate the class with SL4J, and you should have log directly available for usage, but it's not coming up for some reason. No, that's not the thing. Okay, let me check. Do we have SL4J in our form.xml? Let me check. SL4J. No, we don't have SL4J. Let me add SL4J into the form.xml. Give me 1 minute. I'm just trying to get the dependencies. SL F4J. Okay. Okay, let me check the versions that I need to use. RestAssured 1.7.26. And what else? Okay, and 2.11.2. Let me do maven clean install. I just added SL4J API and log4j implementation dependencies. And let me do maven clean install. I should have said maven clean install minus t skip test. Anyway, that's fine. It has done the installation. In fish, So SLF4J Lombok annotation. Yeah, that's what I have added. Okay, so I have imported Lombok SL4J annotation, and now you can say log dot inf. Oh, this is strange. I should have log dot info. Why is it not coming up? Okay, let me just refresh the profiles. So we need another dependency, I guess. SL4J. What is this dependency from? org.sl4j. Okay. Do we have org.sl4j in our? We have. Test version 1.7.12. Oh, I think we need to have a XML file log4j2.xml. Do we have that XML file already? Let me check. I don't think we have in RestAssured framework. Okay, let me get the log4j 2.xml file. Where would I get it? It should be in our resources folder, I guess. So, company name. What is our package name? Company name dot project name. Company name dot project name. Okay, let's get this log4j2.xml. Okay, let me create a new file called log4j2.xml. So the configuration is system.t and logger name, and this is my project name. Sorry, let me build the project and then include that statement log.info. Oh, it doesn't have SL4G jar, really? Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, I removed the. We don't need two dependencies. We have two dependencies there. Even now, it's not available. I don't know. I have to take a look, Chaitanya,
Yeah,
and
sure,
then
sure,
get
no
back to
problem.
you. Yeah. It should
So,
work with Lombok SL4J, but I'm not sure why it's not working. I'll take a look and then check in the file.
so
Yeah.
if I want to convert this project to TestNG format, what and all changes I need to do?
Okay. TestNG. So TestNG will have testng.xml, right? And also few annotations with the steps. So if you want, I can write up another framework with which is TestNG based, but at the moment we have only JUnit based. I don't even have dependencies related to TestNG here. Or
Sure.
I'll take a look and then we can do that TestNG in the next session as well. Are you guys using TestNG
Ah, yes, yes. No, actually, in the Cucumber only, instead of JUnit, we thought to use TestNG.
instead of Cucumber?
Yeah, instead of JUnit.
Oh, JUnit.
Um,
Okay. Yeah.
so
Okay.
in the same BDD.
Yeah.
Uh,
TestNG, I think I have used like in the very beginning of my career. But these days we are always JUnit based. But I can take a look and I can just remind myself about TestNG and then do another session. That's not a problem.
yeah. So one more question I have in the feature files, what are the steps we are writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the manual steps. So can we take directly from the Excel sheet instead of writing in the Eclipse or the IntelliJ IDE? So can we get directly the statements from Excel, and those statements can be moved for one method? Do you have
Um,
any like that?
I don't think we should be able to do that. Um, I mean, there is one possibility, but that's to load the test data, not the feature file itself. So feature file we always write it in manually, manually in the sense in the IntelliJ. But while you are supplying the data, you can use Excel sheet to supply the data.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm not sure how you can get the feature file itself from Excel. That would
yeah.
require you to
I got
that yeah, that would require you to write some static blocks where you will process that Excel file, and then um, whatever you have processed, you will write it into a file called feature file name dot feature. So that's the only way I can see, but that is like adding overhead to your framework, right? And anyway,
yeah,
writing features is as per your Jira story, and then it's always good to have manualize at least while you're writing the feature files. I don't think it's a good practice to get it directly from Excel sheet.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another question I have is in Maven plugins. So if you have different profiles, different plugins, how the hierarchy will go? Suppose if I have a profile for test NG and same profile I have for different utilities, so whether it will execute parallelly or how is it?
One moment. Is it recording or? Okay, sorry. Yeah, go on. Can you ask the question again, please?
Yeah, I just want to know the process of execution for profiles and plugins in Maven.
Okay, profiles
Maven
and plugins.
form.exe.
Hmm. So I can explain that. How do I hide this? Okay, fine. So in the profile section, so you can always name your profile as you want. So this can be anything here, your integration test or functional hyphen test, anything. And then you will have a fail-safe plugin which will define your goals and which will have your test runners configuration and what you want to include in your run or what you don't want to include in your run, and also any environment variables that you want to pass while you are running the test. Yeah.
Okay, so suppose if I have different profiles like
Okay.
CA test, integration test,
So
functional test.
then all you need to do is you will have to duplicate the profile that you have and then edit it according to your needs. You can always have multiple profiles and with different names. So you can name it as let's say functional hyphen test. And also when you are running different profile, your test runner configuration might change, right? And also like value of your environment variables might change, but the dependencies would stay the same except the configuration. And also fork count is something, if you want, if you have like 5 or 4 test runners here like me, and if you want to run tests in parallel, then you need fork count as 4. Otherwise you don't need this parameter at all.
Sure. So while running from the Maven command prompt, we should pass this ID, right? Like in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
integration test or CA test, whatever.
yeah,
Okay.
that's right. So you just need to pass it as, yeah, I mean that's your profile name. And just in case, if you want the configuration to be same everywhere, but only if your environment variable differs, then you can easily, so you can just say ci test and minus denv equal to, you can override that variable with ci or something, some other value that you need.
Sure.
Because so let's say for example you have integration profile, and in some cases integration, there will be several integration environments, right? So you can't execute the test against a specific integration environment. So that's when you might have a need to override the environment variable that you have in your profile. So you can just supply it from the command line.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I have questions.
Okay, cool. So next time we can meet with TestNG. TestNG, even I have to take a look because I don't really remember on top of my head. TestNG, I think it's better of creating a completely brand new project. So do you want me to check in the classes that we wrote just now?
Yeah, it is fine if you check in.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I can check in this. And if you don't have any other questions, we can end here and then meet with the next session.
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Sure,
Hope
Bhavani.
this is helpful for you.
Yeah, sure, definitely. It is very helpful.
Okay, cool.
And
Okay then. Yeah.
it is very great, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Okay then.
Okay.
See you next time, Chaitanya. Bye.
Yeah, see you, Bhavani. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.